Hello everyone and welcome to Victoria's Cantina. Today we're having a look at the Neca, the Dark Knight 7-inch scale, the Joker action figure. Alright you guys, so looking here at the packaging, we have a very nice looking box. It's pretty basic in terms of the setup, pretty large window, but I really like how they decorated it with the Joker cards and the Joker writing. I always think it's great when companies theme their packaging appropriately. Even the side of the box has a little smiley face right there. The opposite side looks the same. Up here at the top it says the Joker, and then the bottom, Neca, Real Toys, Dark Knight, DC Comics. And at the back, we have a pretty nice look there. Get some really nice snapshots here of the Joker figure itself. And some information down here at the bottom. Gives you some information on the NECA creative team. Really nice when companies give credit to those who are involved in the stuff that they make. And here it says, with the help of Lieutenant Jim Gordon and the committed new district attorney, Harvey Dent, Batman sets out to destroy organized crime in Gotham City for good. The triumvirate initially proves to be effective, but they soon find themselves prey to a rising criminal mastermind known as the Joker, who thrusts Gotham City into anarchy and forces the Dark Knight ever closer to crossing the line between hero and vigilante. So I picked this figure up from Amazon.com. They are sold at Toys R Us. I have not had any luck finding them at Toys R Us, however. Every time I go, the 7-inch DC figures like this one, or the Adam West Batman, or the Christopher Reeves Superman are always gone. So I just have not had any luck whatsoever tracking these down at retail. So I did pay a little bit of a premium to get this. I paid around $35. But since I really wanted this figure, I didn't really have a choice. So I had to pay the premium. But hey, I have him now in my collection. So let's go and get him out of the packaging. Really eager to see what this is like. All right, you guys, and now I have the figure out of the packaging, and I gotta admit, I got a smile on my face right now. I just think that this looks so cool. I'm a huge fan of realism when it comes to action figures, and when they can really replicate the look of the character from the film, I really love that, and I think that this just looks phenomenal. Easily the best likeness to the Heath Ledger Joker that I have of any of my figures, and we've reviewed the Mayfax Joker, we've reviewed the Play Arts Kai Joker, and of course we've looked at the Mattel Movie Masters Dark Knight Joker, and this just takes the cake. It looks absolutely fantastic. Proportions on the figure look quite natural. He does have a slight hunch to him, but I think that was probably also the case in the film. The texturing of his outfit looks quite good. Looks like there's a lot of nice color detail that was given to the figure. And he is quite articulated and comes with a few accessories. Give you a close-up of the head, and it just really looks so good. I love his dead stare, like he's just looking straight ahead. Not really any emotion on his face, so you're really not sure what he's thinking or what he's gonna do next. The face paint is actually really nice. He's got a very nice white, powdery looking makeup look to him. He's got the raccoon eyes going on, and the eyeballs themselves are kind of like a little bit of a yellowish sort of color to kind of set them apart from the rest of the makeup. And the lips are nicely done. He's got a very nice grin on his face. And the scars just look very nice. Very nice sculpted detail there. And the way that the paint is applied just looks really good. Really like what they did here. You can see his ears kind of just peeking out a little bit. The hair is done very nicely. It's basically sculpted very well, and it has this coloration of green and black, and then there's a little bit of blonde, I guess, here at the tips. So definitely very nicely textured and nicely colored. I really like the hair. I think it looks fantastic. This is just so cool. You can see that his neck is a regular flesh tone. His rest of the outfit looks really good. You can see the tie has a little bit of extra paint detail. There's some patterns there on his purple undershirt. The creases on his vest look really nice. There's a little bit of extra paint applied just to kind of bring out that detail. His coat looks very nice. It looks a little bit faded, just as it did in the film. And if you look at his arms, there's actually a little bit darker, maybe like grayish black paint, just kind of thrown in here in the folds of the sleeves, just to add a little more detail, which is pretty nice. At the back, again, very faded look. There's not a whole lot of texture going on with the back of the coat. You do have some pretty nice folds, so I mean that is sufficient, but the sleeves do look a little bit more textured. He does have a very nice looking chain, a little gold chain right there. I think that looks great, and it's made of metal, which is fantastic. And then his pant legs, a little bit on the glossy side. I'm not so sure they were this glossy in the film, but they look pretty good. I think maybe like they're the cod piece, so to speak, here in the center looks a little bit more matte. It looks like it should have been a little more accurate, and if they would have applied that down here, I think it would have been just a little bit more closer to the film. But nonetheless, that's just kind of nitpicking. It looks great. Inside the trench coat, you can see that there's what looks almost like velvet. The way that they sculpted and painted that, it has a very velvety look to it. And even though it's just plastic, they really did a great job, making it have that sort of velvety look. And I just think that looks super nice. And then his shoes, he's got his long shoes that he had in the film, nicely detailed. In the way of articulation, the Joker has a ball joint here at his head, and you get a good range of movement with it. You can go up and down, side to side. You can tilt it just a little bit to the sides like that. It looks so cool. He's got ball joints at both of the shoulders. Now, the joints on the figure are very tight through and through, so I would say just be careful if you want to heat them up, the blow dryer or some warm water just to kind of loosen them up a little bit. That might be a wise idea because they are pretty stiff. He's got a ball joint here at the elbow, and it's got a good range of movement as well. Not a full 90 degrees, but pretty close. And you can swivel his wrists around and kind of move them up and down just a little bit. He's got what seems to be a ball joint at the abdomen, so you can kind of move him around. It is pretty restricted, though, because of the garments. He does have ball hinging at both of the hips, and you get a good range of movement with them. You can do a very nice split, though, again, you are going to have some restriction because of the coat. But it's not just a ball joint. You can see that there's also a rotation built into the ball joint, so you get a really nice range of movement with this, and that just lends itself to making so many cool poses with your figure. It's got ball hinging at both of the knees, and then ball hinging as well at both of the ankles. So really nice range of movement with this Joker. He's not too over articulated, which, as we've seen with the Mafex figures, is often to the detriment of the figure. In this case, I think it's perfectly adequate. In terms of accessories, we do get 3 of them. The first of them is this knife, which of course the Joker has to come with, and I think it's done pretty nicely. Has a little bit of a metallic paint look to the blade. You get a smaller pistol right here, which has the extra long cartridge sticking out, and this is also quite nice, has a little bit of metallic paint on it as well. And then finally he has a larger gun, which also looks quite good. There's a little bit of a sheen to the lighter gray paint here on top, but it's not nearly as metallic as the other 2 weapons, and by and large looks quite good. As far as his interaction with the accessories, he holds the knife quite well in his left hand. The right hand is a little bit too open, but if you put it in the left hand, it's a very nice fit. He holds a smaller pistol very well in his right hand. It's a little bit too large for the left hand. Now, the larger of the 2 guns is actually a bit difficult to get into both of his hands. It's a little bit large, so you can get it into his right hand if you want to get the main part of the gun there for the grip. But on the left hand, since it's not a very open hand, all you can really do is kind of wedge this little piece of plastic right there between his thumb and his index finger. Perhaps if I played with it a little bit more, heated it up, maybe I could stretch the hand a little bit more. But this is about as good as I can do, right off the bat. And given the way that his articulation works, he just doesn't have a very good hold on that gun. I mean, it looks okay, but I think it, will definitely look better if you just kind of keep it in one hand like that and just kind of have him walk around. That's probably a better aesthetic. And just for the sake of comparison, I'm bringing in the Mafex, the Dark Knight 6-inch Joker. You can see that they're pretty at a scale. Of course, the Neca figure is about 7-inch scale, so it's a little bit larger. And you really can't compare the level of detail between the 2. Just looking at them, it's a huge difference in terms of likeness and just the sheer level of detail. With the Mafex figure, his costume looks brand new. The facial sculpt looks okay, Not too much like Heath Ledger. When you compare that to the Neca figure, there's just a lot more detail and weathering on his outfit. And I think the head sculpt and paint is really what makes that figure. It's just a phenomenally looking done head sculpt. And yeah, you do get a lot of articulation with the Mafex figure, but to me, the most important thing with any toy or collectible is likeness. If it doesn't look like what you saw in the film, then what's the point of even buying it? And for that, I gotta say the Neca figure is a hugely good value, because I think they retail at $20, $25, whereas the Mafex retails at $50. So yeah, definitely no comparison between the two. If you're gonna get one of these guys, definitely get the Neca Joker. Of course, the only drawback is that we don't have other characters from Neca in the 7-inch scale from the Dark Knight trilogy. So that's kind of the thing that I liked about the Mafex Joker, but just comparing them one to the other, the Neca is definitely the superior figure. And because they're both 7-inch scale figures in Neca's 7-inch line, I thought I'd bring in the 1999 Michael Keaton Batman, which is one of my favorite figures in my collection. And the Joker is a little bit taller than Batman and seems to have a little bit of a larger frame, so they're not completely in accurate scale. But my takeaway from this is that it is very obvious that Neca does a hell of a job with their action figures, and the fact that this is my favorite Batman figure that I own, and this is now my favorite Joker that I own, really says a lot, and I really think that they're on the right track and doing a very good job of bringing us excellent Batman characters into action figure format. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, so there you have it. This is the Neca, the Dark Knight, 7-inch scale, the Joker figure. All in all, you guys, I am truly impressed with this figure. I think the likeness is absolutely phenomenal. Neca did a hell of a job nailing the likeness to Heath Ledger and painting the figure so nicely. The face paint looks very nice, very clean. The rest of the outfit looks very nice. I love the weathering on the jacket. I love the extra paint on the sleeves and on the vest, just bringing out more of that nicely sculpted detail. I think the legs are a little bit glossy in terms of coloration, but they do look pretty good. And of course, we wouldn't want the figure to look too drab. The articulation is very nicely accomplished. I especially like the hips. And I think when you do hip articulation like this, you really don't need thigh swivels or the kind of T-joints that Mattel does on some of their figures. And it really works very well. So I'm really happy with the articulation. Only thing I would say about the articulation is that he doesn't hold the larger of the two guns there in both hands, because he is a little bit restricted in terms of reaching that gun with both of his hands. But other than that, very nicely done. The accessories are very nice. I really like the knife. It fits perfectly into his left hand. The smaller gun fits perfectly into his right hand. And once again, the larger gun, you can put it in his right hand, but that's about all you're going to do with it. Sure, they could have included interchangeable hands, but if you go back and look at my Mafex videos, that's not always the best thing to do, especially on figures that don't include metal pegs for interchangeable hands. So I prefer something like this where you're not going to have to mess with the hands. You're not going to have to mess with taking the head off. I think this is definitely preferred for my collecting needs. And by and large, I'm truly happy with this figure. It's not perfect, but it is definitely exquisite. On a scale of 1 to 10, I'm going to go ahead and give the Neca 7-inch Joker a 9. I really don't think you're going to beat what you're getting for the price, and it's just an all-around fantastic figure, and I got to hand it to Neca for putting something out like this. The only thing that I hope is that they're going to continue developing the line with more 7-inch scale figures from the Dark Knight trilogy, like Batman himself, Catwoman, Bane, and so forth. As long as they get all the major players in there, I think I'll be pretty happy. Alright, my friends, if you enjoyed this video, then I do encourage you to please like and subscribe. Let me know down in the comments what you think about the Neca Joker figure, whether or not you're planning on picking him up. Be sure and follow me on Facebook and Twitter for the latest news and updates. And as always, I really want to thank you for watching Victoria's Cantina. Until next time, my friends. Bye-bye.